Welcome to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand.
Yes, good afternoon and welcome back to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. You are, of course, joining us for a match preview. Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Liverpool tomorrow, 3 o'clock kickoff, the good old-fashioned time and day for a kickoff at Molineux. Going to be a really interesting game, this, not on TV. So we're going to have to find an alternative way to watch it. But to join me in talking about this game, I've got my good old mate, Matt Cooper from Talking Wolves. How are you, my brother?
Hello, mate. It's very good to see you. I've not seen you in a while. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm not bad, man. Yeah, like you said, we did a live stream on Don Robbie together, didn't we? Back in January.
Yes.
And I think we won that 1-0. And that was maybe the first game, actually, that I actually won on the Don Robbie channel. I was maybe on a 6-game losing streak at that point. So I celebrated quite a lot. And in that game, you were bigging up Wolves. And he said, but they probably scored now. Oh, shit, they've scored 1-0.
We were so bad last season as well. I'm surprised it wasn't more.
Yeah, no, listen, we were in a dark place there, but it's very different now, Matt. Obviously, Liverpool on fire, if I do say so myself, without sounding biased. Scored the most goals in any league in Europe. I think it's 43 so far in 14 or 13 games. So yeah, looking very good. Let's get into a couple of the comments. Make sure if you are into your footy content, that you go and follow Matty as well. Billy giving it the old spuds up. Marshall saying big up the Kop TV family. Jota scoring 2 goals against his former club. Very brave prediction. Yes, Alex, looking smart there. Out, says Sean Creighton. Thank you very much, Sean. I wish I could say the same for yourself. Right, let's get into what we think is going to be a difficult game for Liverpool, because yes, we might be on this good form and we're scoring a lot of goals. It's all free flowing, but traditionally, and I say traditionally, you might give me a different answer. Traditionally, the Molineux Stadium is a very hard place to go to, isn't it?
It is a tough place to go to, but I feel like looking at the table now, the table is certainly lying in terms of Wolves' performances. We've not really been at the races this season. The first 3 games we were unbelievable, but we couldn't score. And then he tweaked it a little bit and we became a bit more defensive and we were grinding out results. But the past 2 performances against Burnley and Norwich have been a shambles, mate. We're good defensively, but offensively we've got nothing. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a tough game because these are the kind of games we get up for. But I can't look past anything in the Liverpool win, mate. I genuinely can't. Like you boys are playing some unbelievable stuff, and I think it'll be a tough game. It'll be fairly close, but I can see you winning it 1 or 2-0.
Oh yeah, no, I can't lie to you. I just did the game day preview show live on Don Robbie, and we both said 3-0. So obviously the confidence is rightly deserved because of the results we've had, especially away from home. However, I still, even though you might be playing badly and you've had a good start but maybe dropped off, I'm still not going to underestimate you, because there are some players in that squad who, let's face it, maybe they were at their peak a couple years ago, but they're still there. Jimenez can be a problem. Your man up top, number 26, is it Chan? What's his name?
Wangy Chan, yeah.
Yeah. Unbelievable little striker. We were having a look at him when he was playing up top with Haaland and Minamino. And then obviously on the wide areas, you've got Traore. So there are still players that can cause damage, but why haven't they this season on a regular basis? What's the reason?
It's a difficult one with Traore, because he, for me, is my favourite Wolves player because he's so exciting, but also so frustrating in the same breath. He lacks a little bit of intelligence on the pitch to play the role that Bruno Lage wants him to play, because we essentially play with 3 defenders, 2 midfielders who sit, and then 5 attackers. But the attackers are the 2 wing backs, the 2 wide men, and centre forward. So we usually play with inverted forwards, so which creates space on the outside for the overlap. But Traore, he's an out-and-out winger. He's not an inside forward. In terms of wingers and beating his men, he's probably the best in the league. No one can get anywhere near him. But to try and translate that into coming in field a bit more and being a little bit cuter, it just hasn't worked. There's question marks around his contract situation. He's got 18 months left on his deal. I think he wants to leave. And it wouldn't surprise me if Podence is fit, whether Podence plays. He'd been come down with COVID the last 2 games, so haven't been able to play, but played really well against West Ham. He's a little cuter. He picks up those pockets of space really well and links play fantastically.
I really like him.
Yeah, he's a little pocket rocket, mate, Podence. He's good.
Yeah, Joel's saying here that Podence was a good replacement for Jota. Have you really recovered since we bought Jota? Because he was in the goals for Wolves. That's obviously why we bought him. I think he scored maybe 15 and 40 for Wolves in the Premier League, which is a bad record at all. But then when you take a man out who scores that many goals, coupled with the fact that Jimenez was out for so long, I mean, have you really recovered from? Because I refer to the start where I said traditionally, if we go back to the 17, 18, 18, 19 season, tough place to go, Wolves. Yeah. And I think with that team that you had, you're on a bit of a high. But have you recovered really from those sellings?
We weren't with the Jota deal. I almost feel like when you have a transfer, there's a winner and a loser of transfer. But I don't think either of us.
Not too sure what's happened there with Matt Cooper's
45 million for a player who wasn't really in form at Wolves. He's very like hot and cold at Wolves. So to get 45 million for him was we were happy with that because Neto was coming through as well. And Neto's been injured for like 6 months. And Neto for me is a better player than Jota, or was when he was at Wolves. I think Jota's coming to hit another springboard and
level,
he's playing in a better team, an attacking team. But we haven't really recovered. No, last season the damage done by Nuno was bad. I think if we'd have kept him this season, we'd have gone down. I really do. He stunk the place out, mate.
Really?
And when you've got players like Connor Cody coming out and saying we needed a change, that's when you know things weren't great. But we're not the team that we were when we first came up. I don't think, and especially in the second season when I think. You lot came to Molineux, I think it was around this time, and it was a 2-1 for me. Scored in the last 10 minutes, I think, or Henderson.
That game?
Yeah, and
Henderson scored a header, and Jimenez then scored, and then Firmino cut in on his left in the box and left foot top corner. Did 87 minutes, I think it was.
But that was a very, very close game.
Tight game, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't. It's a weird one. We're still playing the 5-2-3, but it's a completely different kind of way of playing that we would do under Nuno. But I don't think it's going to be a tougher test as it was when you last came to Molineux when you were there. But I still think it's going to be a tough game, and I just hope that we can get up for it. Neves is back. His suspension's up, and he's been our best player this season alongside Max Kilman, who I'll probably come on to in a bit, who's come out in from the cold and been sensational.
Yeah, let's get into some comments here. Big up to you guys for getting involved. Tarun is obviously hoping for another 4-0 win. Marshall saying what's happened to Neto. He's obviously been out for a while, hasn't he? 6 months.
He should be back in January.
Yeah, definitely was looking at him, to be fair. How I'm guessing he means how old is Traore now? He's saying how is Traore now? But again, poor spelling and grammar from Angel 1968
nice,
Abel. Yeah, sorry about that. But how old is he now, Traore?
How old is Traore? 25.
Yeah,
he'll be 26 in January. So
wow, he's been around for a long time, hasn't he? Yeah, Joel saying that Podence was a good replacement for Jota, and he also says, "Are you surprised with Jota's form at Liverpool, Matt? Because as you said, in your opinion, you thought that Neto was maybe ahead of him whilst they were both there."
Well, yeah, towards the end of his tenure, Neto was straight ahead of him. He almost fell out of favour, Jota at Wolves. So that's why I was kind of surprised he went to Liverpool. Not surprised with his form whatsoever, because on his day, mate, the bloke's unplayable. But he did blow hot and cold. A little bit younger, probably a bit more inconsistent. What I am surprised is that he's managed to kind of sustain form. That's the thing that surprised me the most, because, like I said, on his day, the bloke is a wizard. He's unplayable. But then the next game, he's not playing with 10 men. But I feel like in a better team, under a better coach and a more attacking team, he's managed to sustain that form. But you do get a lot of Wolves fans who are a little bit bitter about him going. But I'm not bitter at all, mate. He joined us in the Championship, man. He had no right to. He fired us to Europe in a good side, and and left for European champions for a good amount of money. Hats off to the fella. I hope he doesn't score against us on Saturday, obviously. But you know what? Fair play to him. Like, wish him all the best.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you're a Wolves fan, you look at it and say, he joined us in the Championship. He'd just come from Atletico Madrid and Porto, who,
Yeah.
you know, if that's on your CV, you don't go, with all due respect, you don't go to Wolves in the Championship.
No,
you might in the
don't, not in the
Premiership. To
Championship.
go to them in the Championship, that's unbelievable. Drags them up and then comes to us. I mean, the goal he scored the other night is Aguero-esque, the way he's kind of rolled the defender and smashed it in the kind of near post. The keeper's no chance. I mean, we've been singing his praises on the Kop TV recently. There isn't a massive clamour really for people to kind of sing about him, which is weird because Liverpool fans we're so affectionate, but we don't really have a Jota song. And I think that needs to change as soon as possible. When he scored against Atletico recently, Arsenal, obviously just scored away at Everton, scored away at United. Obviously, we love him and his numbers speak for themselves, but we need a song. So I'm going to start a petition. Maybe Matty could actually give us a Wolves Jota song, and we just reappropriate
to sing when we were in Europa League because the final in Gdansk, it used to be Diogo Jota running down the wing. Jota, hear the wondrous sing. Jota, he's taking us to Gdansk. Diogo. So it might be.
At the minute, we've got that for Sadio. Sadio, Mane.
Yeah, you can't do it for both.
Mane, here the Kop, Mane, what it is, Madrid, Mane. So we definitely need a Jota song. So if anyone's got any suggestions, let us know in the comments now. There was actually a funny one, to be fair, that came through the other night, and it made me chuckle. So keep them coming in.
We also used to sing as well because for like 3 years, everyone called him Diego Jota. So he used to think it's Diogo, not Diego. Makes me happy, makes me feel this way. But that one didn't catch on. It's a bit terrible, that.
Yeah, Diogo. Not
Diogo.
Diego. A lot of people actually think it is Diego, but no, do your research. Yeah. So we mentioned earlier the 1920 when it was a very tough game. Before that as well, in 1819, Van Dijk and Salah scored. I think it was 2-0, but again, a very tough game. Bailey asking, wasn't Jota good in the Europa League for Wolves?
Yeah, he was class in Europa League. I think he got 2 hat-tricks. He was good. Like I look back and like I really so tenacious and such a it just snaps at the heels of defenders, but so frustrating in the same breath. But I still look back with fond memories, mate. Like us going into Europe was, as a Wolves fan, I've been down into League One where you're thinking we could go bust there. And to be able to say I've seen my team play abroad in Europe. I mean, to you guys, it's every single year, but for us, it's an absolute dream come true, and he was part of that. So I look back on him with fond memories.
No, do you know what? You actually forget that Wolves had a really impressive stint in the Europa League. I remember. Was there a good result away at Braga?
Yeah. No, we Espanyol was probably the best. Besiktas we beat away to Slovan Bratislava, but we then beat Olympiacos and we lost to Sevilla in the quarters, who were eventual winners. But if you got Sevilla in the Europa League, you might as well pack your bags and
I mean they win it all
because they're always going to win it
every year. Yeah, and hopefully Atletico and Barca will be joining them in the Europa League this season. That's
mental.
Another
Absolutely
day.
Mental.
How about this one from Joel? Is Trincao underrated? He and Traore absolutely smoked United, which is always a good thing to do.
Trincao is just he's so frustrating. He started off well. If the geezer could finish, he'd be on 10 goals. Like genuinely, he'd be on 10 goals. But he's too lightweight. He has the blinkers on, but then he turns so well and drives at defenses and commits defenders. In terms of Wolves fans, he's out of favour. I think they've kind of already made their mind upon him because he's on loan with an option to buy for 25 million. If you ask them now, they wouldn't be taking up that option. But he's still a young lad. He's still learning. But he's just got to book his ideas because there's a serious player in there. But it's not really working for him at the minute. He's out of favour. Traore starting over him when Podence been injured. So. He's all right, but it's not something that you need to worry about come Saturday if he's playing. Put it that way.
Fair enough. Big up to Truepack, who got in touch yesterday to say he's been binge watching the Kop TV. Let us know how that's going for you, man. I'm glad that you've joined us at this late stage. How's Jimenez been since injury? Asked Bailey. I mean, guys, if you haven't watched this already, please go over to, is it iPlayer, Matt? The Jimenez
Code Red.
documentary.
Yeah.
Code Red. So unbelievable clip there of Nuno as well, because obviously he was the manager at the time when the injury happened. He's crying and recalling really what happened on that day. Explain to us, what Code Red actually means as well, because it's not a good thing to hear on a football pitch, is it? So, and this is why everyone should go and watch this documentary.
Yeah, Code Red is essentially life-threatening, isn't it? It's still, I still remember it like really, really clearly. It almost feels like it's a family member it happens to, and that might sound ridiculous, but you're building affinity.
I don't think that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah,
no.
And the fella doesn't usually stay down, and then when you see like him in the recovery position, and you almost selfishly think, fuck, like I hope he gets back to playing soon. But then you kind of realise like it's a bit more than that. Like he's just had a young daughter. His missus has moved over from Mexico. Your thoughts were initially with those, but it was harrowing, and we went on to win the game. Probably one of the best performances of the season, but we really did.
It was at the Emirates, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's a playground for most teams, isn't it, these days? But
careful.
But yeah, it was a tough watch. We went on to win it, but we did miss him afterwards. But we weren't playing great with him at the time. Again under Nuno, kind of with a handbrake on. But he's come back this season, and the first 2 or 3 games we were like, he's just not the same player. He's like a couple of yards off it. And then we played Southampton away, and he scored a really good solo goal. And since then, he looks back to his best. The last couple of games, he's looked poor, like truth be told. But since that Southampton game, he looks back to his best. Particularly the Everton game. I know Everton aren't very good either at the minute, but he just looked. Him and Neves just looked miles above anybody else on the pitch. But just glad to see him back, mate. I think we do need more cover for him, because the role he plays, he's just tireless. He keeps running, and
I'm a big fan of his.
I still feel that in terms of like out and out number 9s, he's up there with the best in the world.
I was going to say league. Not sure about.
No, I think he is, mate. Like the way,
really,
yeah, I genuinely do. I think, especially Jimenez of the 1920 season. Him and Traore linking up was fantastic. I think they've got the record or joint record for the most amount of combined, and assisting each other and goals.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an amazing footballer. We're really lucky to have him. We're really lucky to have him back in full health. The only real saving grace from the injury is that no other clubs will probably sniff around him now. Because I feel like, he'd scored 4 or 5 goals before he went injured after like 10 games. I think he would have gone at the end of the season, but I think now with that looming over and the way that Wolves have looked after him, he absolutely loves the fans, loves living in Wolverhampton, which everyone can't say the same because it's a bit of a shithole.
You don't even like living there, do you?
I live in Birmingham, mate. I live in the posh ends. I would live in Wolverhampton. As soon as I could afford to move out, I was gone, mate. Yeah, we're lucky to have him, mate. It's really
big up to. We've got a Wolves fan here as well, Craig Berger, who says he is a world-class player. He also says we ain't scared of Liverpool. So obviously showing the fact that they are Wolves and not Kittens, as the title says. Obviously, we've given you guys a player as well, in Kiana Hoover. Yeah. I was a big fan of his. When we played you in the League Cup, when you beat us, I think start of 2020, was that?
Lever scored 2019 for the box, yeah,
maybe start of 2019. I think we got an injury to Lovren, and Kiana Hoover actually came on in that game and did really well against Wolves. Then joined you. I was actually hoping that he would break into the Liverpool first team, but how has he fared since he's been at Molyneux?
It's hard to say, mate, really, because he's not really been given the opportunity. He played a fair amount of pre-season. One game that stood out, I can't remember, against the opposition. He was absolutely terrible. I was like, I'm convinced this fella's not even a footballer. But then he played the first. a game against Leicester away because Semedo was injured at right back, and he did really, really well. But since then, we've barely seen him. He gets a couple of minutes off the bench here and there. But with Semedo being the, signing him for 25, 30 million, that position is pretty much his, and I can't really see that changing. Against Semedo splits opinion with fans. I think he's a good player. Some fans just like to scapegoat. And you've always got that player in your club who fans like to scapegoat. If you lose, it's always their fault, and he's that player. But it's hard to say, really, mate. We haven't seen enough of Hoover. I think that the club may look at playing him as a centre half, especially in January, because Sace may be off to the African Cup of Nations, potentially Bolly if he's fit. And we haven't got any other centre halves to cover, so I think he'll play at centre half. But it's hard to say, mate. We haven't seen enough of him, but he's still only a puppy, and we've still got time.
Yeah, still a puppy, just like us. Who you actually wanted on this preview instead of me?
I did. That was part of the contract. I needed the preview of Gus, is it?
Yeah, the contract was ripped up though. Big up to Kevin Cooper. Any relation there, Matt? He says he's from China. It's 9:55 at night, and then he says you never walk alone. So maybe not.
No, I don't know any of my family members called Kevin or live in China. So if
all support Liverpool.
Yeah, all support Liverpool. They're either Wolves or Albion, my family, unfortunately.
Oh, there you go. Big up to Trupac, says he's loving the content. See you and Jurgen soon, bruv. Big up to yourself. Craig, you're getting so we've got a Wolves FI fan page here that says 5th anniversary gift for Liverpool in December the 1st. Oh, I know that's a load of rubbish. I mean, he's pernickety, if anything there. And then he says, Marshall says he's getting absolutely smoked. Marshall going for 2-0 Liverpool. I would take that all day long. 3 points is obviously the most important thing for us here. Just before I get into the lineup prediction of the Liverpool team with you, bro, what is the score going to be tomorrow? Because we've heard some shouts there.
If the last two games have been a bit different, I mean, we played West Ham after the park, and as you lot know, they're a tough team to play against. They're a good side. We battered them. And then I thought, Rock, we've got Norwich away. Again, new manager bounce, but winnable game. Then we got Burnley at home. To get 9 points from those games would have been fantastic. But the fact that we got 2 draws and we churned out like dog shit performance.
Yeah.
I can't look past the Liverpool win. I think it's going to be 2-0 Liverpool. If we'd have got a bit of momentum in those other games, I could have said 0-0 or 1-1 because defensively we're very good. But I can't look past the Liverpool win. You boys are banging form and they're going to cause us problems. But I don't think it's going to be an easy game, mate.
No, I'd agree with you. I'm going to go with 3-0 Liverpool. Kev actually just rounds it up for us there. He's an expat English teacher and he's so happy to hear his name on the show. Big up to you, Kev. I hope you're enjoying yourself out in China. Hoover left Liverpool because he thought he would have first team game time. Now he's on the bench for Wolves. He would have been able to develop at Liverpool under the best coach in the world. Marshall, again, linking Matt's channel there. He would like to describe.
Thank you, Marshall.
Will be in the description by the end of this, or I'll even tag you in the title straight after this, bro. Loving the fanny part, says Mitchell.
I think you might be on about these, mate.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what that's about, Mitch, and he's a regular as well, so let me know, mate. Right, I'm going to get into our team, which is not going to take long, because I'll tell you what, if it's not broken, don't fix it. We've just battered Everton 4-1 away at Goodison Park. I've been screaming this since the day Thiago joined Liverpool, that our best midfield is Thiago, Henderson and Fabinho. Thiago and Fabinho really building up a beautiful partnership. They've played 15 games for Liverpool so far together, not lost one. 14 wins, 1 draw. So if that's anything to go by, the battle tomorrow will be in the midfield. And I do think with Henderson on form, you saw his goal and assist against Everton. Fabinho is just the destroyer and Thiago picking out the passes. I'd like to see Thiago get to 90 minutes. There has been a bit of... dragging him off after 60, 65, which is okay, I guess. But, I'd really like to see him go the whole 90 and then maybe bring the Ox on as well. But yeah, there's your team. Alisson, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk. I'm going to go with Robertson, who's played really well against Everton again. Thiago, Hendo and Fabinho. And then obviously Jota, the former Wolves man, and Mane and Salah as well. And I think Firmino should be back within the next couple of weeks. Right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Big up to yourself, Matt. It's been a pleasure as always, my bro. I'm going to put your channel right in the title now, so don't worry about that. Big up to you guys for getting involved in the comments. Matty is going for a 2-0 Liverpool win. I'm going for a 3-0. We'll see what it is tomorrow. Don't forget, we'll be doing a live watch along of this game, myself and Doyle on the Kop TV. And then on Monday, we've got Hot Copics. Tuesday, we've got Milan away in the Champions League. We'll be at Jurgen's for that. As well as a match preview with a Villa fan next week as we play Aston Villa. Stevie G, back at Anfield under the lights. It'd be interesting to see that one. Matt, thank you so much, bro. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you outside Jurgen's on Monday. Take care. All the best. Off he goes. Big up to Matt. Big friend in the industry. You don't really get a lot of friends that you can trust in the industry, but Matt's definitely one of them. Big up to him. Right, guys, that's it for the Kop TV. If you haven't seen the Don Robbie Game Day preview show, go over and watch that. We previewed every game in the Premier League this weekend. And of course, make sure you comment and subscribe if you haven't already to the Kop TV. We're doing really well for subs at the minute. We want to keep that up. Big up to you. Aldo, watched all the way from Zimbabwe. We're going really worldwide today. Guys, thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow. Take care. All the best.
Whoa. Just before you go,
don't forget, give us a like, drop us a comment and subscribe to the Kop TV.
The voice of football's most famous stand.